Hey guys, this is James from TeaDB, bringing you InBetweenIsode number, what I believe will be 49. I'm filming this pretty well in advance, and I have yet to film the next couple InBetweenIsodes, but it will make sense in a bit. So this tea, I have already gone 12 steeps in, and the idea is to sort of like explore what it's like to come back to these teas a few hours later. So I started drinking this tea, and I finished up my session at around 9 a.m. I drank 12 steeps. The tea is White2Tea's 2015 Last Thoughts. So I'm drinking it once right before I do the episode, and so I did 12 steeps. I was probably steeping it for about 45 seconds to a minute. On the last couple, I skipped the rinse, so that was, I guess, 12 times that hot water hit the leaf, and now we're coming back to it. And you know, this is like one of those things where there's really like an infinite amount of variations as far as like how you could do it. You could like dry out the leaves, you could stick the gaiwan in the fridge, you could wait for 3 hours, you could wait for 12 hours. A lot of different ways, and a lot of people ask me like, oh, is it safe to have tea if you let it sit for like an hour? And the answer, in my opinion, is definitely yes, unless you live in a very strange, super overly humid environment. And, you know, the answer to like when it becomes unsafe to drink differs place to place, but I would just give it a quick sniff. If it smells generally alright, then I would say that's okay to keep drinking. So usually when I come back to teas, you can cut back a little bit on the steep time. So like I said, I was steeping this for about 45 seconds to a minute, and even just off of that, which was probably like 20 seconds, I'm still getting a pretty nice color. And definitely recommend smelling. Smelling can tell you quite a bit about how much strength the tea does have left in it. So it's sort of like a sugar cane florality to it. And we're going to keep going. And so one thing to keep in mind, especially when coming back to teas like this, is that the second time you hit it with hot water, the tea is just going to be a lot warmer, just because the temperature difference between the gaiwan at sort of like room temperature and the gaiwan once you just recently hit it. So you may not even have to steep it for very long. Easy to judge the color off of a gaiwan like this. And so we are going to steep that there. And really, with a lot of these things, it's just a lot of experience and brewing by feel. If it was too strong in the previous one, then you can dial it back. If it's too weak, you can be a little bit more aggressive in your brewing. And cheers, guys. So there's a little bit of bitterness, but really this tea is just most extraordinary, and I really like this tea. I like the 2014 version, I like the 2015 version. I think the 2015 one might have a little bit more bite, but that's really a hard qualification to say without having the two back to back. But anyways, the returning aftertaste on this tea are just really magnificent in my opinion. Like immediately, like the taste in the mouth was nothing extraordinarily. It was bitter. It had a decent body, but really you can feel it going back down your throat, and then you can sort of feel it rise, and you can feel just a ton of sweetness, a little bit at the back of the mouth, but really, really focused a lot on sort of the throat aspects of the taste spectrum. A little bit citric, which I find to be a little bit odd. I don't remember noting those notes before, but still very pleasant. And it has sort of a vegetal astringency, a light one to it that would prevent me from saying that, oh, I can go ahead and steep this for 5 minutes and it'll be totally okay. I would probably avoid doing that at this point. Okay, so the second steep upon coming back is a little bit weaker, so I think I'm going to push this into about 45 seconds or a minute. You know, giving the tea a break like this, you could do it for a number of reasons. One reason would be you just need to step away from the tea table and you don't want to waste a good tea. That would definitely be the case for something like the Last Thoughts. You wouldn't want to step away from this tea at 7 or 8 steeps. Another reason could be that it helps to give the tea a break because you think you can get a little bit more out of it. And this is a reason I find myself frequently stepping away from the table, and that's the reason why I'll often have a couple gaiwans, and some of them will be the previous day's teas, which are still given something else, still giving out good flavor, or it could be, or it could just be long steeping it, which is probably what's going to happen to this tea, which means that you're steeping it for pouring hot water, and you're steeping it for anywhere from a couple hours to 12 hours. But yeah. So we'll see how this goes. I pushed it a little bit more, so it'll be interesting to see how the bitterness sort of develops from the previous steepings. Sort of dark brown sugar nose coming off of the gaiwan lid. Cheers. So I'm rewarded this time by pushing the steep with a much fuller body. There's a bit more of a astringent bite to it. But again, the effects of the sort of like the energy, the chi I'm feeling off the tea, which is another really excellent aspect of this tea, as well as sort of like the throat swelling. This tea, the depth is very good because you can sort of just feel it sort of like at the upper edges of your chest, of your diaphragm. So I would say that steep was about right, so I'll probably try to do it for a similar amount of time for this steep. So, we'll brew it right now. And you know, this tea has a lot of strength to it. So one option could be to continue to gung fu it for maybe 4 or 5 more steeps, or I could even just give it another break and see what I can get out of it later on in the day. I will let that cool down for a hot second. Yeah, so do let me know how you like this sort of content. One of the flaws of TeaDB that we've talked a little bit about in the past is just like not being able to really fully explore teas, even on some of these extended in-between-isodes where I go for 8 steeps, 9 steeps, something like that. It's still only catching not even half the tea for some of those. Like I could give the 8 or 9 steep treatment to maybe like a lower quality oolong tea, and maybe that would be the full exploration of the tea. But I feel like it's just one of the inherent flaws without getting into like really, really long 45-minute episodes, which would frankly be just a bit too much, both for us and for probably you guys as well. So do let me know how you like this, a different sort of exploration of a tea. And I would definitely recommend people try giving the tea a break and coming back to it. Usual times for me to come back, maybe after 7 or 8 steeps on a good oolong tea. Pu'erh, you could probably go for a bit longer. But also let me know what your guys' process is if you're already doing this. If you like stick all the leaves out on like a paper towel to dry out, if you put it in the fridge and then come back to it. Yeah, I'd be curious to hear that as well. Anyways, cheers. So this tea remains to be very, very good. It still has the very base profile that it had earlier. I wouldn't say that it's dramatically changed. It has sort of like that brown sugary base, continued great throatiness, some chi as well. I would say it's like not as intense as the first couple steeps, especially in terms of its chi, where when I just drink this tea, it's like, whoa. But it continues to offer a lot of very positive attributes. So this is definitely not one of those where you steep it 4 times, say, oh, I'm not getting much out of it, and dump it. You want to keep going on this tea. And brewing it in this way can bring out some different aspects to it as well. Anyway, so thank you guys for watching, and I will see you guys next time.